Hello, fourth graders. Welcome to a 2-day trip through lesson 5.8, talking about subtracting mixed numbers today. So I want you to imagine, look at my hand there. I have 2/4 of a dollar in my hand, right? There's 4 quarters in a dollar. I have two of them. I need to pay back Mrs. Mock 3/4 of a dollar, but I only have 2/4. What could I do? Is she not going to get her money? I only have 2/4. I need to get 3/4 of a dollar. What could I do? Aha. Are you thinking about borrowing from a dollar bill? That's what I would do, right? I'd get 4/4, right? I could cash this in for 4 quarters, and then I would have enough quarters to give her 3/4, right? 3/4, I had to give her 3 quarters. Our objective today, right, is going to be to subtract mixed numbers correctly. Now, the reason we spend 2 days on this is because I know adding fractions, earlier, probably last week, or maybe earlier this week, that adding fractions probably went pretty quickly for you, and you're like, oh, okay, I got this. Subtracting fractions can be a little bit more tricky because look at this, right? Just like how when we subtract whole numbers, we have to borrow sometimes, we also have to borrow sometimes when we are subtracting mixed numbers. Okay. And so this is an important concept for us to realize is that that we have to identify when we have to borrow and when we don't need to borrow, right? And we've been saying all year, big bottom borrow, right? Here you had 4 minus 6, big bottom, so we had to borrow. Okay, it's going to be the same concept in subtracting mixed numbers. Now, what I'm going to tell you is to not try to do these sideways. Okay, doing these problems sideways almost always leads to confusion. Okay, so I have 6/10, 6 and 10/12, 6 and 10/12 minus 1 and 11/12. So 10/12 minus 11/12, big bottom. So I have to borrow. I'm going to borrow from the 5. All right. So what am I going to give over here? Well, usually when we were subtracting, we'd say, okay, I'll give a group of 10 and then put it right here, 110/12. No, that's not going to work. Okay, so let's explain this, right? Think about this. We just crossed off one whole, which is divided into 12 pieces. There, I think that's 12. And we're giving those 12 twelfths, all of them, over here. We're giving all of the twelfths over here. So there were 10 twelfths over here. Now there's 22. There were 10. We just added 12 more to get 22. Now, I'll tell you the secret about how to know what number you have on top here. But right now, I just want you to understand why. This is going to be 22 twelfths now. Okay, I had 10, and then I added 12 more twelfths. So now I can do this. 22 minus 11 equals 11. Keep the denominators the same. 5 minus 1 equals 4. 4 and 11/12. Okay? All right, let's do another one. I'm moving it up because I am not going to do it sideways. Are you ever going to try to do these sideways? No, you're not. If you said yes, I'm sorry, that's incorrect. We're going to stack them like this, okay? Because if we do, we can see if we have a big bottom. 1/3 minus 2/3. Yep, we have that big bottom. So we're going to borrow. Big bottom borrow. We're borrowing from the 5. So we're taking one whole away, right? That's 3/3. We're going to give these 3/3 over here. There's already 1/3 here. So 1/3 plus 3/3. Now I have 4/3. Okay. Now what's the trick here? When you're trying to figure out what number should be on top after you borrow, just add up these two numbers, right? 3 plus 1 equals 4. It works on this other one too. Just add up these two numbers. 12 plus 10 equals 22. Okay, that's because you're adding a whole group plus what you had there already. 4/3 minus 2/3 equals 2/3. And 4 minus 1 equals 3. All right, now be careful because every time you see a subtraction problem does not mean that you always have to borrow. 4/5 minus 1/5 equals 3/5. No borrowing, no big bottom. The bigger number was on the top. This is just 2 3/5. These are a whole lot easier, of course. But when you do have to borrow, oh, you will here. Well, I should have kept that hidden a little bit here for you. Let's look. 7 5/9 minus 2 7/9. All right, I already told you that you had to borrow. Why do you have to borrow? Because you have the bigger fraction on the bottom. You have a big bottom. Big bottom, borrow. So we're going to cross out the 7 and make it what? 6. And now, right, remember, we're giving some over. And in order to figure out what goes here, we need to add up the two numbers. We need to add those up. And we need to get 14. Okay? So we added the 5 plus 9 to get 14. Now subtract. What's 14/9 minus 7/9? And what's 6 minus 2? And you should have ended up with 4 7/9. Okay? All right. So you today will be working on a worksheet like this. You'll probably get it online. And I will probably then give you, you'll do all the problems. You want to do them on a separate sheet of paper, and then you'll have a space to be able to type in your answers. Okay, we'll be practicing this in our live session also. So if you're confused, wait for that, and then maybe try this after you go through that session. Okay, all right. If you have any questions, be sure to let me know, and good luck.